First time that it has been reported that Trump invited Epstein to the nuptials. CNN also found this photo showing Trump with two. What are you trying to say?
It's irrelevant now. It doesn't matter.
What's irrelevant?
Bring Epstein out.
So hold on a second. Hold on a second. What exactly is irrelevant?
Tell me how this affects the average American tomorrow morning.
I can tell you.
Help me realize the solution. We got to get Epstein back. Oh, damn, he's still dead. Oh my goodness!
And you know that's offensive. That's offensive, Kevin,
because he's still dead. I wish he could come back, but he's not coming back.
Even though he's dead, Kevin, there are real women and girls, who suffered because of him.
Kevin,
the fact that the House of Representatives is going to their 5-week break early just to avoid having to
bring it
vote.
home. It's not important yet. Bring it home. Tell me why it's important.
Well, let me finish, okay?
I'm confused as to why you're confused by this.
Yes.
Listen,
I'm not confused at all.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to be quite.
Put out all the files.
Because here's the thing. Listen,
why weren't House Democrats?
Let me just finish my point, please, for the love of God. Let's please just.
First
of all, you have Alex Acosta.
Why didn't it happen in the last 4 years?
I know. Democrats bad.
Why didn't it happen? Why didn't it?
Just tell me. Don't care. Both.
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this segment. CNN has never before published pictures of Trump and Epstein, and this is incredible. The arguments made here. Kevin O'Leary for the second night in a row. Very odd behavior. Let's check this out, and we'll talk about it.
CNN has exclusively rediscovered photos of Trump and Epstein that shed new light on their relationship. Here is one of them. It shows Epstein attending Trump's wedding to Marla Maples in 1993. Now, we should know this is the first time that it has been reported that Trump invited Epstein to the nuptials. CNN also found this photo showing Trump with two of his young children talking to Epstein at the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe in New York in October 1993. And then there is the video from 1999 at a Victoria's Secret fashion show in New York. In a statement to CNN, the White House communications director said, quote, "These are nothing more than out-of-context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious. The fact is, the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep." Now, here is Jeffrey Epstein's brother talking to Aaron Burnett tonight.
He's trying to cover his butt. I mean, look, I understand people trying to distance themselves from Jeffrey because of what he was charged with and the circumstances he found himself in. I understand that, but I know that they were good friends, and I witnessed it myself.
Joining us in our fifth seat at the table is former federal prosecutor Temidayo Ngango-Williams. Temidayo, the other thing that occurred today was that a top Justice Department official decided to go to Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, who is in prison for similar crimes. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what he was trying to get, but how unusual is it for that to even happen?
So this is just any top official, right? This is the DAG, the Deputy Attorney General, whose day-to-day job is second in command of Department of Justice, and he really runs the Department of Justice. The Attorney General handles the political components. He handles the day-to-day. He's not typically doing any investigative work. So it's bizarre that he would go down himself to conduct an interview. That's what's done by line assistants, and this is a case that was prosecuted long ago. I expect if there was productive information, credible information that she had, her lawyers would have attempted already to use that to her benefit. The fact that they hadn't suggests to me that there isn't, and this really is a political show as opposed to doing what Department of Justice policy
and let's keep in mind, this is President Trump's former personal lawyer. Okay, so this is somebody who worked for the president at a time when the president is trying to distance himself from Jeffrey Epstein, even though it is well documented that they were close friends. And even this idea that he was kicked out of the club because of the charges that were brought against him, there's reporting from the Washington Post years ago that suggests that there was another reason. It was a prime property on Palm Beach Island that pitted the two men against each other. According to the Post, a 6-acre oceanfront estate with a 180-degree view of the Atlantic. 15 years ago, they squared off over that Palm Beach mansion, but it was after that, months later, that local police began investigations into Epstein and whether he was sexually abusing minors. So they're trying to act as if there's not a relationship here when there definitely was. And at the same time, Trump's Deputy Attorney General, former personal lawyer, is going to Ghislaine Maxwell to, I don't know. I mean, is it to find out new information or to get her to side with them in terms of trying to prevent some of these documents from being released?
Well, I think these photos from the...
Before I let the party of child abuser excusers talk, the Democrats should steal that. Exactly. Finally, someone said it. He never kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because of the child trafficking allegations at the time. And I think Abby is right. This is exactly what they're doing here. They want to talk her, at least what it looks like to me, into not implicating Trump, and probably not implicating purposely other people. And who knows how Trump is going to reward her. A pardon at the end of his sentence. At the end of his term. Well, Freudian slip there. Right, like he what's it called? He pardoned 1,600 January 6 rioters, some who beat the crap out of cops. Is this out the realm that he would pardon her at the end of his term, make that kind of agreement with her? I don't trust this entire process. Trump can't be trusted, and most certainly not the DOJ and FBI, who is ran by Pam Bondi and Dan Bongina. Yes, I purposely call him Bongina. And again, Trump wished Ghislaine Maxwell good luck. This is such a simple whatever fact when she was sent off to prison. Think about why Trump would do that. He has no sympathy for anyone, but why her? Someone who did something so heinous, not so close to these people, right? He doesn't have this close relationship. Why would he wish her good luck? Someone who did something that she did. Does that not at all seem at least a bit odd to you conservatives out there that are still choosing to ignore all the clear signs of something isn't right here? Trump's behavior, very odd.
The pre-internet era have convicted Donald Trump of actually being a socialite in New York City. That's about all I can conclude from them. And that Jeffrey Epstein also was a socialite in New York City. And I think most people in the country are going to find that fairly unpersuasive. Ms. Maxwell is going to probably end up testifying before the House Oversight Committee. Tim Burchett, a member of Congress from Tennessee, passed on a voice vote subpoena to bring her there. So the Department of Justice going to question her again, I think, is probably not in the world's worst idea, since she's going to be on the stand in Congress here pretty soon.
But why would they want to question her again when she's already been questioned and convicted?
Well, I think right now you see a lot of people who are in the president's political orbit. I think they're self-appointed influencers more than anything else, are demanding that he release information. He's told Pam Bondi she should release everything she can. So I think this is them doing their due diligence. Todd Blanchett has been in the Justice Department for a very short amount of time. I agree it is normally kind of a thing a line attorney would do, but you can't on one hand say this is a high-profile thing the president should be doing more. Oh, now he shouldn't have sent his top deputy attorney
why
general.
did he wait till the last minute to do this? I mean, if they really cared about the Epstein files, they could have done this a long time ago, but they chose to do it now because Trump is under pressure. And the idea that he's just a socialite in New York City is preposterous. He appears 7 times in the Epstein flight logs. Epstein described Donald Trump as one of his closest friends. And Trump said that Epstein himself was a terrific guy who liked women on the younger side.
Right.
Not to mention the Wall Street Journal report about the naked drawings for his birthday.
There's only one solution. We got to get Epstein back. Oh, damn, he's still dead. Oh, my goodness.
And you know, that's
Speaking of
offensive.
the
You know, that's
such a
offensive,
shame
Kevin,
that he's
because
still dead. I wish he could come
even
back,
though he's
but he's
dead,
not coming back.
Even
He's
though he's
dead.
dead, Kevin,
This
there
feels
are
dead.
real
This
women
topic's boring
and
and
girls,
dead.
real women and girls who
They
suffered
should
because
not
of
release
him.
minors'
Kevin,
names. Everything else, put it out there.
What's the
But,
point?
but
Can I ask
don't
you?
minimize this by joking about the fact
Yes.
that he's
Joking?
dead.
He's dead.
But
Yeah,
Kevin,
but
it's not
this
a
is
joke.
Kevin,
He's dead.
hold on a
This is
second.
And he's dead
Hold
tomorrow,
on a
too,
second,
by the way.
Keith. Let me try to
Dead
understand
the day
you.
after.
So what's the point? What are you
The
trying
point
to
is,
say?
it's irrelevant now. It doesn't matter.
What's
And they should bring
irrelevant?
Epstein out.
So
Get
hold
her
on a
to
second.
testify.
Hold on a second.
But
What exactly is irrelevant?
tell me how this affects the average American tomorrow morning.
I can tell you.
Help me realize some person struggling to feed their kids, put their child in college. Who gives a...
Is it
I'll tell you why.
possible?
I'll
Is
tell
it
you
possible
why
that
there's
there's
so
Please
much
help
people
me
can hold
understand.
multiple
Let me-
things in their minds
happy
at the
to.
same time?
Thank goodness you're here.
So, look, I think everything that has currently transpired, okay, in regard to Trump's reaction to releasing the Epstein files, the fact that the House of Representatives is going to their 5-week break early just to avoid having to
Bring it
vote.
home. It's not important yet. Bring it home. Tell me why it's important.
Well, let me finish, okay?
I'm working with you.
There's a lot of smoke that leads people to believe that there are all sorts of questionable people that might be tied to the government, in the government, and people want to know whether or not they're literally pedophiles who abused women, or girls, I should
it
say.
out there.
So Merrick Garland should have released it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Merrick Garland.
Well, if I could just add, just to bring it back.
Papi, I'll bring it for you. I'll bring it home for you. Because powerful, wealthy people like you, Kevin, have been robbing the American people for decades through low wages, tax evasion, a swath of things. But now, they have robbed the innocence of these young girls and permanently destroyed them. People, the super rich like you, Kevin, Baldy, must be stopped and exposed. This is the second night in a row with this hysterical behavior. Thou protests a whole lot. He said release all the files. I don't think he's involved in it, but I don't know if he just wants to defend wealthy people and he hates the attack on wealthy people in general, because he has that kind of persona as well. But this behavior is odd, and who cares? But like, honestly, like the way he's acting, I can see how anyone would think he's on a list. Last night he tried to say maybe they were raped, as if it wasn't a fact. What? He knows, everyone knows about this issue. Everyone knows for a fact what happened. I don't know. It could be Trump contacted him like he did with Charlie and Child Trafficking Factory Kirk and Lauren, the facial disaster Loomer, and a bunch of them, if not all of them by now. He could have been contacted and Trump telling him to back off of this or defend him. I don't know. I don't trust this whole MAGA Republican. They're all shielding Trump in any way they can. I don't know. And then he talks about how does this help the everyday person. Before I forget, I almost forgot about that. How does it help put food on the table? How does taking their Medicaid away and imposing tariffs on the American people so that people like you, Kevin, get a huge tax break? How the hell does that help put food on the table? You asshole.
Back to what DOJ normal policy would be. When DOJ conducts an investigation, you don't release those investigative files. It's not open to the public. Why? Because you don't want to name someone who cannot defend themselves in a court of law. That's not provable evidence yet. Here,
The dead guy?
No, it means,
No,
for
the other
example, if you
people.
interview someone, there's something called an
Might be
FBI
alive.
302. You might interview a witness who says, I saw John Doe do X, Y, Z. If the government releases that information about John Doe can't defend himself in a court of law. That's typical DOJ policy here. But if you want something about a file that's going to be interesting, it's not going to be interviewing someone who's convicted. It's going to be looking about an investigative file, seeing what those agents uncovered in interviews, seeing the evidence that's in that file.
What specifically?
I'm not the one asking for the information either way. All I'm saying is if you want to know what's interesting about this case or any federal investigation, it's going to be more expansive than grand jury transcripts. It's going to be about what those FBI agents conducted.
why?
Well, let me step
Kevin,
back for a second. The reason why
I'm
we're
confused as to why you're confused by this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'm not confused at all. This
yeah,
is a
I mean, you
complete
seem
waste
to
of
be
time.
quite.
Put out all the files.
Because here's the thing. Listen, in the world, people can hold multiple ideas at the same time. One, they can care about their financial well-being, and two, they can also care whether or not there are people who maybe should be prosecuted who participated in a scheme to abuse young girls. Those are both legitimate things to
explored that,
both.
and we determined
Both
we
are
did.
legitimate things to care about,
don't-
and that's the question at hand. I think there's a separate question, which is, in this moment, should everything be released? I think Temidayo makes a case that there's a good policy that would say probably not. But Donald Trump is the one who wanted them released until he
Thank you.
became president.
There's
That's the problem.
Well, wait a
Yeah.
minute, though, Abby. If you're going to talk about hypocrisy, House Democrats have gummed up the Rules Committee this week and refused to let anything be considered
Here we go.
to be brought to the House floor except this. These are the same Democrats who were wholly uninterested in this case for the last 4 years.
There are plenty
wholly
of
uninterested.
there are
It's
plenty of
complete and total
Republicans. There are
hypocrisy.
plenty of
No,
Republicans
Let's
who
just
want to
evolve
force.
into another like partisan
yeah,
nonsense nonsense
Yeah,
story
no,
because
because-
this is
because-
deeper than
and
that.
you're
This
right.
is really deeper than
They're-
that.
House
And
Democrats
there's a
won't
lot
let
of
us move to
smoke
immigration.
that
They
makes
won't let
this
us-
issue actually deeper.
Why weren't House Democrats
Let me
considering
just
this for
finish
4
my
years?
point, please, for the love of God. Let's please just.
You have
First
your
of all, you
major
have
point.
Alex
Hold on, Brad,
Acosta.
hold on.
Alex Acosta, who prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein and gave him a sweetheart deal. He told a reporter, "I was told to back off because Jeffrey Epstein is intelligence." He was asked about that a second time, and he wouldn't deny it. He wouldn't deny that he said that, which is interesting. Okay, why were there cameras in the rooms where these girls were being trafficked? It was to obviously film these powerful elite men, abusing girls and potentially use that as blackmail. So there is a concern that aside from the lack of justice for the victims in this case, there is a concern that maybe there was something deeper here. Maybe there was some institutional corruption that, is part of this whole story. We don't know for sure, and I think Americans who are really fired up about this story want to know if there was like a blackmail operation taking place. What was going on
I'm with you.
here?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Nobody's for Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody's for his abuse of girls. Nobody's for human trafficking. Nobody's for the Johns getting away with it. Why didn't it happen in the last 4 years?
I know
tell you why it
Democrats
didn't happen.
bad.
Why
I don't
didn't it
care.
happen? Why
Democrats,
didn't it? Just tell me.
Republicans don't care. Both are bad when it comes to this issue. They should release the details to the American people. I don't care which parties.
I can tell you why it happened, but part of it is that it's not the conspiracy you think it is. It's that Donald Trump is the one who made this a big issue. Donald Trump is the one who ran on, he was going to release the files. Pam Bondi was the one who said the list was on her desk in February, and now it suddenly doesn't exist. It was the Trump MAGA machine that made this an issue. The Democrats never made it an issue, but now that we see that the Trump has come out there and refused,
Now they think it could hurt Trump, then they want to make it
now
an
that we
issue.
see that Trump has refused to produce the evidence that he claimed to produce, it's another example of dishonesty and lack of transparency from this administration.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
no, you know what?
Friends on
And-
issue.
and
Let me-
going back to that, you know what?
Let me ask. Hold on. Let me ask Timmy Dyer one more thing. Kevin, just a second. Let me ask Timmy Dyer one more thing. The Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, after they reached out to her, said that they confirmed the discussion, but he also said, "We're grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case." I'm just curious, what is your reaction to a statement like that coming from somebody who is in prison already, charged, convicted, all of that for this crime? I mean, he must think, it seems like, that there's something positive coming out of this at the end for his client.
The words that come to mind are quid pro quo. I think it's tough to look at the situation and think you're likely to get credible information from someone who's currently serving a 20-year sentence, information that she did not provide to lying federal prosecutors who were actually prosecuting her under the Biden administration. So I think what I would suspect is that there's a suggestion there that the one person standing between her and perhaps freedom is President Trump, and that must bring into question anything that comes out of these interviews, especially when conducted by the president's hand-picked former lawyer who now, instead of doing his day job running the Department of Justice, is interviewing someone who's already been prosecuted and has every incentive to put forward information that lacks credibility.
All right, to be continued. Let's hit pause on.
So, just my last thoughts on this. I agree with what Anna was saying mostly, but I just don't agree with this whole thing that Dems are equally as bad on the issue. That's just ridiculous. Republicans ran on this, not only Trump, but the Republicans, the pundits, all peddled this garbage. Used it as a weapon because they thought it was going to only hurt Democrats. Biden ran on getting us out of COVID and the disaster that Trump left. Democrats weren't being fed this stuff on a daily basis. Plus, the only reason we're here is because Republicans cared so much about it because, again, they wanted to use it as a weapon against Democrats. That's the only reason we're here. They ignored this entire time Trump's close relationship with Epstein and made excuses for it. Mike Johnson, that porn creep and Speaker of the House, closed the chambers early so that they don't vote, Anna mentioned it, for the release of the Epstein files. Is that suspicious? No, nothing to see here. How about the Democrats? They had a vote last week. The only votes that were a no were Republicans. No, nothing suspicious to see here, right? This story is insane, and I really hope it doesn't go away until it's finally resolved. Not only do the victims need accountability and justification, But whatever's in there with Trump, it has to be big. Trump would not be allowed. Why would he take this heat, this level of heat? That makes it seem like he's clearly involved in some form of child trafficking, child abuse. Why would he do this? My hope is, which is a long shot, I guess, is that Republican voters, conservatives, start to see that they've been manipulated on these issues, on other issues that enraged them for so long. These Republican pundits and party members have only angered you and used your emotions and despair. And it's time for you to hold them accountable. The reason your life is the way it is not because of the Democrats. That's stupid, and I think you know that. Or whatever conspiracy that they made you believe. From the immigrants taking your job and people of color getting jobs that aren't deserved. It's all bullshit being fed to you. Papi wouldn't lie to you, I promise. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. Really helps the channel. Really helps get the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.